Hello students, today we are going to start a new chapter that is getting to know plants. In this chapter we'll be studying about various types of plants, how they are classified and various parts of plants and its uses. Before heading towards the topic, let's just discuss what we have learned earlier. We see plants all over us, right? We see it from the smallest size to the largest size, from the shrub to the plant that climbs on other parts. So, according to what we observe, the plants are classified into herbs, shrubs, climbers, creepers, and trees. So let's study about what all are this in detail and how are they different from others. So the first is the herb. The herb, if you observe, what are all these plants? The mint, the coriander, the tulsi, garlic, these are all herbs. These are the plants that have some or the other medicinal value, and they have specific fragrance. So the herbs are normally that plants which are used in medicines. They are shorter in height. Their stem is non-woody. If you observe the stem of this herb is non-woody, means it is green in color. It is different from the other stem. So the herbs, they are shorter in height, their stem are non-woody, and they do not have much branches. So what is a branch? Branches are a part of the plant which grows from the trunk, like from the main stem. When small part is grown, that is known as branch. But in herbs there are not too many branches. So now let's go towards the next plant, that is a shrub. So normally people get confused between a herb and a shrub. The shrub is little more heighted, or it has more height as compared to the herb, and also their stick is hard, like they have the brown color stick, but they are not very thick like that of tree, but they do have stick that is hard. These are some of the shrubs. So you might see most of them are the flowering plants, or some of them are ornamental plants. What are ornamental plants? The plants which you plant for just showing that it doesn't produce any fruit or any flower. So such plants are known as ornamental plants. You might have seen like this plants in your gardens where you go for a walk, right? So these plants are just for showing. They do not produce any flowers or fruit. So that's why these are known as ornamental flowers. So what are shrubs? The shrubs are plants which have height more than that of herbs, and they do have stem which is hard, but they are not very thick as that of trees. So these are some of the examples of the shrubs. Now the next are the climbers and the creepers. So till now we saw the plants that could stand by their own. They had a stem which supported them in standing erect. But there are some plants which are unable to do so, means which cannot stand by their own. Such plants are known as climbers and or creepers. So what are these climbers or creepers? So plant like this have a really weak stem. They cannot stand upright. They cannot stand erect because their stem is really weak. So what do they do? This plant, what is this? This is a pumpkin. What is this? This is a watermelon. So what do these plants do? As their stem is weak and they cannot stand upright, they crawl on the ground or they spread on the ground. So if you have seen a watermelon growing, the watermelon plant, it it spreads on the ground. So such plant which spreads on the ground are known as creepers. So the word itself suggests you what are creepers. They creep, they crawl like on the land. So that plant which cannot stand upright, which has a weak stem and which spreads on the ground are known as creepers. Then what are climbers? They are also having a weak stem. But what do? They climb on others. So if you give a stick to a climber, it will climb on it. Can you see? Have you seen a bitter gourd bean growing or a grape bean growing? They are climbers. They climb on a stick and start growing on it. So such a plant which takes support and grows on it are known as climbers, and the plants which crawls or spreads on the ground are known as the creepers. Why do they do so? Because their stems are really weak. Now the next is a tree. The tree is the largest plant that you can see around yourself. The largest plant, anything from neem, gulmohar, all are trees. So what is the difference that you observe in a tree and the other category? Yes, trees are really tall plants and they have a hard or thick stem. So if you compare the stem of a tree and that of shrub, you might see the tree's stem are really thick. Now let's compare the stem of all these plants. As you can see here, this is a shrub and this is a tree. What can you see? The stem of the tree is really thick and that of stem, yes, it is thin. And you can also see that in a tree, from one stem or one main trunk, this is known as the trunk part, it is then further divided into branches. But when you go to the shrub, from the root itself, the shrub has started its branch. So the difference between these two are, in the trees, the stem or the trunk is bigger, and in shrubs it is thinner. And when you compare it with the mint, or mint is a herb, the stick is really thin and it is erect. But for the climbers, what you can see, this is a support, this is a stick that is given to it. This is a money plant. So what is this climber doing? It is trying to climb the stick. Why? Because the stem of the climbers are weak. So we can compare it and say that the climbers has a weak stem, while the mint have a strong stem, but it is thinner as compared to shrub. And the shrub has a thick stem, but thin stem, but it is not as strong as that of the tree, and the tree has the biggest or largest trunk or the stem. It is thicker than compared to any of them. Now let's just study about the parts of plants and the uses of plants, of these parts. So which are the main three parts of plants? Yes, the leaf, the stem and the root. Now let's study the function of each of them. Now, what is the function of the leaf? Yes, the leaf is known as the kitchen of the plant. Why? Because it is the primary site of photosynthesis. It is the site where the photosynthesis occurs. What is this photosynthesis? The process by which leaf makes food for plants. So, the leaf is known as the kitchen of the plant. Why? Because there the process of photosynthesis occurs. What is photosynthesis? The process by which leaf produce food for the plant. And in turn, ultimately, all of our animals, every animal is dependent on the trees. So, in one way or the other, the leaf is sustaining the life in the planet. Because if leaf do not produce food, if the plant will not grow, the animal will be unable to have the food. And if the animals are unable to have the food, the life in the planet would be hard. So, leaf is known as the kitchen, or is the main part of sustaining life in our planet. The next is stem. So what does the stem do? The stem is the part that connects leaf from the roots. So it is the connecting part. So what does it do? It takes nutrients from root and give it to the leaf. And it also help in holding the leaf, buds and flowers. So what is stem? It's the connecting part which pass the nutrients from root to leaf. What is root? Yes, this is a part that is inside the soil. And what does this part do? It collects all the nutrients, water and minerals from the soil and pass it to the plant. Sometimes they also store this food. So what is the function of the root? It collects the nutrients and water from the soil and it passes to the other parts of the plant. So till now we just revised about the types of plants and the parts of plants. I hope this is clear. Thank you and have a nice day.